Hey YouTube, welcome to another episode of Celebrity Birthdays. And I'm really sorry my YouTube series, the M&S show, has been so slow. Over the summer there've been problems. So many problems, I just couldn't continue for a while. But my mom found solutions. I used her camera, but it doesn't have very good quality. So the next episode, Jacob's Jealousy, will probably have very low quality, but I'm sure you'll be able to understand what I'm saying. Anyway, this next episode of Celebrity Birthdays will be for a Japanese video game designer, and it's going to be my first Japanese celebrity that I'll be doing today. Originally, it was going to be Sonic the Werehog's Japanese voice actor Tomokazu Hiseki, and then Sonic's regular form and super forms Japanese voice actor Junichi Kanemaru, but due to my laziness, that was skipped. So maybe next year during Sonic's 26th birthday. Well, 26th year, not birthday. Anyway, on to this one. Today is November 16th, 2016, and that means it's the Nintendo 64th birthday of Shigeru Miyamoto. Get the joke? Nintendo 64th birthday? My friend Lucas and I came up with that idea. We thought it would be a really good one, so I really love to give you guys a really good laugh. Anyway, I know Shigeru Miyamoto for creating a lot of video games in the past, including Mario. And Mario has made a big impact when I was a kid. I've even created a lot of Mario stories, especially crossovers between Mario and other franchises like Sonic the Hedgehog. Anyways, his first game was Donkey Kong. There was also Radar Scope, and that was a big success in Japan. While in North America, it was a complete failure. So instead, Nintendo decided to create a game called Donkey Kong. But due to the movie company Universal thought that Nintendo was stealing the idea of a King Kong, so they were sued. But thanks to the work of John Kirby, they won the case, and the Universal was forced to repair any damage that was given from Nintendo. Lucky you, Shigeru. You never lost that case. Congrats. Anyway, and so they continued with the idea with the Donkey Kong Jr. and Donkey Kong 3. And originally there was going to be a Popeye game before Donkey Kong, but they didn't have the license to create the game until a few years later. After the success of Donkey Kong, Nintendo decided to make the Nintendo NES, which stands for the Nintendo Entertainment System, or what it was originally called, the Famicom. See, in Japan there were tons of differences between different systems than the American versions. Until later, it was made with different ideas. Anyway, the NES made a big impact when my mom was little, as well as my brother. In fact, when my brother was young, he used to play a lot of NES games, including Dr. Mario, Super Mario Brothers, tons of Mario games. We even had the first Legend of Zelda, as well as the Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. That was always my favorite game. But I also love the first game. I would never forget that game, because the main theme for that was beautiful. Anyway, the games themselves were a big success as well, which led to the Super NES. The Super NES also made a big impact on my life. It was one of the most recognizable systems I ever played as a kid. I never forgot how awesome the games were and the music. In fact, one of my favorite games for the Super NES was Super Mario World, because I always loved the castle music. In fact, maybe I'll play that song a few times in my YouTube series, especially if the villains would attack. And I've played a lot of NES. I've seen a lot of NES games but the Super NES has just as good graphics, especially how the backgrounds look in the Super Mario All-Stars, the version of Super Mario Brothers. The original version was good, don't get me wrong, but it was still fun to play a game like Super Mario Brothers for the Super NES. My brother and I would play the Super NES whenever we visited my grandma. But when they moved here to Tonasket, they lent it to me and my brother. That was really exciting for us, but we didn't play it as much anymore after, now that we have the Wii. Now for the Nintendo 64. The first Nintendo 64 that Shigeru ever developed was Super Mario 64, and it became a big success. It had so many copies sold worldwide, both in Japan and North America. And the Nintendo 64 was one of the video game systems I grew up with. And I had a lot of fun video games besides Super Mario 64. So did my cousin. She even had The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. That was always my two favorite Zelda games. I mean, there are other Zelda games I love as well, especially the first game, but Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are just beautiful. No offense to those who are afraid of Majora's Mask, because I did hear a lot of people saying that they're scared, especially the moon. Ugh, that stuff, it kind of chills me as well, but I still love the game. Especially my favorite song, the Song of Healing. Anyway, the Mario series, I grew up with that too. I never played Star Fox as a kid because my parents weren't into a lot of shooters. But I thought Star Fox 64 looks fun. In fact, I really love the way it was designed. Especially the design of Fox himself. Besides that, I also played other Mario games like Paper Mario. And it was really fun. I had beaten the game before. Then it was onto the Wii, the GameCube, and the DS, as well as the Game Boy Advance, or the GBA. See, back then the GameCube wasn't a huge success, according to a lot of historians, but there were some successful games like Super Mario Sunshine. In fact, I have that game still. Our first copy was scratched and unplayable, but our current version still works now. Anyway, despite this unsuccessful GameCube, it was still a really fun system. It even had a lot of successful games like The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess, and The Phantom Hourglass for the DS. There was also my favorite, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker. That was always my favorite because you get to travel through the ocean. And despite people saying the GameCube wasn't very fun, I actually think it was good. Another of my favorites has to be Luigi's Mansion. I especially love how you could call Mario in that game. It's so funny. But now, the present time. And I'm sorry about the negative stuff. I can be a little negative sometimes. Other times, no. Anyway, there have been a lot of awesome titles for the Wii U and the 3DS. Especially games like Mario and Sonic. That game really got a big impact when I first saw the first Mario and Sonic game. And it may have been tricky, but it's still a good game. In fact, the first time I heard about the series, I thought, wow, that's really cool. I guess Nintendo and Sega finally made a deal to create a crossover between both Mario and Sonic. And that inspired me to make a story called Paper Mario and Sonic, which was inspired by the Paper Mario series. And I gotta say, the Wii U is a really fun system. I still have it over here. And it's a really fun system to play with using motion control and the gamepad. It's a really fun system. I got it as a graduation present from my grandma. It was a really fun day that day. We even got to play Super Mario Brothers U. That was a really cool game. But I also love other games like Super Mario 3D World and Super Mario 3D Land. But currently, Nintendo is working on the Nintendo Switch, which is a new handheld and home console game. And it's a big improvement with the Wii U. It's a bit of a much different version. You could both have it at home and on the road. And I'm excited for the release. So Miyamoto-san, Otanjo Himere to Gozaimasu. That's Japanese for happy birthday. So I hope you have a really good one, and I hope you have a really fun time creating the Mario series. And it's gonna be a good one. I hope the Nintendo Switch is gonna be a good one. I mean, so it's good, quite an honor to celebrate your birthday like this. So, like I said, happy birthday.